Egyptian authorities have given no official explanation why the students were arrested, but some media say the arrests are linked to a ramping up of security before the US president's visit. Investigative journalist Wayne Madsen has written that the clampdown on the Islamic University may be connected with an attempt to foil a plot against Obama. Well, we're now going live to Mr. Madsen, joins us from our studio in Washington. Good to have you here on RT. So, do you believe there actually could be a plot brewing against Obama during this visit to this Muslim country?
Well, according to one report, some of the detained students at Al-Azhar were asked by Egyptian security police whether they were planning another Hussein Square incident. Now, that's a reference to this past February. There was a bombing in Hussein Square in the central part of Cairo that killed a young French teenager and wounded several others. I think probably what the Egyptians and the U.S. Secret Service are concerned about is any sort of disruption of President Obama's visit to Cairo. A bombing anywhere in Cairo would get immediate attention by the world press that's going to be gathered in Cairo and could basically disrupt what the message that President Obama is trying to deliver to the Arab and Muslim world in his speech. And we also have to remember that right now, Israeli relations are at one of the lowest points they've been since the Suez Crisis of 1956 and another settlements issue with the George H.W. Bush in the early 90s. And we know that Israel has a history of conducting false flag attacks in Egypt, specifically the infamous Lavon affair where Israeli agents bombed the U.S. Information Agency and tried to blame it on the government of President Nasser at the time. So I'm sure a lot of this is weighing in on how the U.S. Secret Service and the Egyptian authorities are reacting to any potential disruption aimed at President Obama's visit.
All right, then, can we look at the relevance this has to Russia? I mean, we know that nationals from Britain, France, and Denmark have been arrested, but here we have Russian students arrested and still being held. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, if we recall the links that have been well established between exiled Russian tycoon Boris Berezovsky, who's wanted by Russia for various things, but we know that he's been linked to Chechen terrorist attacks in Russia and in the Caucasus area, and we also know that Mr. Berezovsky has very strong links to Israel. So if you're looking at a possible attempt to disrupt the Obama speech and visit, you'd certainly be looking at potential allies of the Israelis, people they could use to give them the plausible deniability that they were involved in any sort of false flag attack. And I'm quite certain that's why the Chechen students and the other students from the Northern Caucasus region are still being held by the Egyptian authorities. They may in fact be released if nothing happens after Obama's visit, but if something does happen, they may be answering quite a few more questions.
Yeah, but even if nothing does happen, you still mention in your article the possible consequences of the arrest taking place in the first place. What are those consequences?
Well, obviously, the mere fact that the arrests have taken place will send a message that I'm sure the Obama administration doesn't want to send. But I think that what we're seeing is Egyptian and American authorities being very, very careful. This is not a this is a potential dangerous trip for President Obama. He's enjoying a lot of popularity in Egypt and the rest of the Arab and Muslim world, but there are people, especially in the Israeli government, that would like to upset this entire outreach by President Obama, especially at a time when U.S. relations with Jerusalem are so sour.
Wayne Madsen, as always, good to hear from you here on RT. Thanks very much indeed for joining us live from